Welcome to TPM Vid's Disney Beat, where we talk about all things Disney. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video. We also have Instagram and Twitter. You can find us at TPM Videos. Music has always been a big part of the Walt Disney Company. One of the first places you're greeted with music is on Main Street, USA, the canvas that sets up the opening scene of these Disney theme parks. This turn-of-the-century American town has always been an area filled with music. Live music, as a matter of fact, especially in the early days of Disneyland. Whether it's the Dapper Dans, the live marching bands, or ragtime pianists. Maybe it's even Casey's Corner cast members at Magic Kingdom singing to open up the restaurant. Music on Main Street is vital to the story, and one of the best pieces of music is the background music of the land. But the role background music plays today in the theme parks is largely thanks to one specific Disney legend. There's a rich history between Disney and musicals, but since the late 50s, Main Street has had some major ties to Broadway. So today we're going to explore some Disney history and count down 5 musical secrets of Disney's Main Street, USA. Number 5. At the Disney theme parks, background music plays a big role in setting the scene of each land. Disneyland is always seen as a film happening in real time, and one of the last steps in the filmmaking process is music. It completes the story you're trying to tell, which is a big reason why, even here on this channel, each segment features thematically appropriate music. It sets the tone, just like the ragtime band music that plays on Main Street, USA. But this isn't how it always was. In the beginning, the lands at Disneyland relied solely on live music. They didn't really have any background audio loops like we have today until the early 60s. And the kicker is that a lot of it wasn't even thematic. As you walk down Main Street, USA, current 60s pop hits would play on the speakers. So pretty much it was the equivalent of walking into your local Six Flags or Cedar Fair parks today. So when did Disneyland finally add historically appropriate background music to Main Street? Well, it really wasn't until Walt Disney World opened in 1971. And it's all thanks to Disney legend Jack Wagner. He's the original voice of Disneyland, the one responsible for the famous
"Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls."
And today you can still hear him say,
"Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas."
Jack had been lending his voice to Disneyland for years as a freelancer. Then in the early 70s, he was hired full-time as the official voice of Disneyland. It was also at this time that Disney hired Mr. Wagner as a production consultant. In an article from Disney Magazine in 1998, he recalled hearing modern pop hits down Main Street and said the music felt really out of place. So his first task was designing a playlist of ragtime songs that fit this turn-of-the-century town. Around the same time, Walt Disney World in Florida was about to open, so Jack also went on to design background music for Magic Kingdom. In total, he created background music for 40 different themed areas for both Disney World and Disneyland. The original Main Street audio loop was said to be on the shorter side and was used at both parks from around 1970 for Disneyland and 1971 for Magic Kingdom until 1976. So if it wasn't for Jack Wagner, who knows, maybe we'd still have contemporary pop music playing down Main Street today. Number 4. The upbeat ragtime music on Main Street matches the excitement you feel as you first enter a Disney park. No matter where you are, you can always hear the music, and it's because the area is filled with sound through dozens of hidden speakers. Some are more obvious than others, like the speakers up on these light posts at Magic Kingdom. Along the buildings, these decorative grates are really just hidden speakers cleverly designed into the architecture of the buildings. Even these white decorative areas on the Town Square Theater are also speakers. Over at Disneyland, a lot of the windows are hidden speakers. Sometimes they're hidden behind an open window with some lace hanging in front of them, or sometimes it's more obvious, like this dark section here. All these speakers create the surround sound, feeding that feel-good music onto Main Street. The music loop you hear today at Disneyland and Magic Kingdom is the 4th audio loop that's been used in this area. The first loop was curated by Jack Wagner and used from 1970 until 76. He then updated the loop, creating two separate playlists, one for the AM and another for the PM. These were used from 1976 until 1991. After a 15-year run, Disney felt like the music needed to be updated. So, in the early 90s, in conjunction with opening Disneyland Paris, work began on a brand new music loop. They wanted to include more contemporary pieces that still fit the turn-of-the-century style, but resonated with a newer generation of guests. This meant bringing in songs from TV shows and films, which also just happened to be Broadway musicals. That's right, before Disney made its way to Broadway in 1994, you could hear Broadway show tunes right on Main Street beginning in 1992. 3 Broadway shows had prominent medleys in the 1992 hour-long loop. They were Rodgers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma, Meredith Willson's The Music Man, and Jerry Herman's Hello, Dolly. Although these 3 musicals were written between 1943 to 64, their stories all take place around the turn of the century, so the ideas and themes fit in with the time period, and the songs were reorchestrated in the ragtime band style. In 2012, Disney released a newly recorded and updated music loop for Main Street USA. This included a new selection of songs, but they kept many of the originals, including some of these Broadway show tunes. Number 3. When you walk down Main Street USA today, one of the most recognizable songs for a modern Disney fan is probably Married Life from Disney Pixar's Up. Although the film doesn't take place during the turn of the century, this part of the film happens between the 40s and 50s, and they arranged the song to fit perfectly on Main Street. Another song Disney fans probably recognize on Main Street is from Disney Pixar's WALL-E.
Put on your Sunday clothes, we're gonna ride through town.
This tune you hear throughout the film is Put on Your Sunday Clothes from the 1964 Broadway musical Hello, Dolly, specifically the 1969 film adaptation with Barbra Streisand. It's definitely one of those feel-good songs, and this is what it sounds like in the park. It's been used on Main Street since 1992, so the song has had an association with Disney well before WALL-E. Put on Your Sunday Clothes is also used in the trolley show at Magic Kingdom. Another Hello, Dolly song that's been heard since 1992 is Before the Parade Passes By. Here's a little snippet of Carol Channing performing the number at the 1964 Tony Awards.
Look at that crowd up ahead. Listen and hear that brass harmony growing before the parade passes by.
And here it is on Main Street USA. Again, if you spent enough time on Main Street, you definitely recognize this song. So a lot of you might be curious now as to what other Broadway show tunes can be heard on Main Street today. Well, in addition to Hello, Dolly, there are currently 2 well-known songs from the 1943 Broadway musical Oklahoma. The first is Surrey with a Fringe on Top, and here is a small clip from the 1955 film adaptation of this American musical.
When I take you out in the Surrey with the fringe on top.
On Main Street, it sounds a little something like this. Now, back when Disneyland first opened in 1955, they actually offered Surrey rides with fringes and all down Main Street. These ran until 1971, and this further shows how the story and themes of these quote-unquote newer songs fit the turn-of-the-century story. Another Oklahoma song that talks all about how the world was changing so rapidly at the time is Kansas City. It's also been a Main Street tune since 1992, so enjoy the visuals of the 1999 West End revival with the instrumental heard on Main Street and vocals by yours truly. Everything's up to date in Kansas City. They've gone about as far as they can go. They went and built a skyscraper 7 stories high, about the size a building ought to grow. Kansas City is one of my favorite Oklahoma songs, and hearing it in the park makes you just want to march right down the middle of Main Street, doesn't it? The last Broadway show tune that's been heard since 1992 is Wells Fargo Wagon from Meredith Willson's 1957 musical, The Music Man.
The Wells Fargo wagon is a common now. Is it a prepaid surprise or COD?
You probably already recognize the tune, but this is what you'd hear on Main Street. Walt Disney was actually a big fan of Meredith Willson, and this iconic musical theater figure was part of some very special historical moments right down Main Street, USA. Number 2. The song 76 Trombones from Meredith Willson's The Music Man has become an American standard.
76 trombones caught the morning sun, with 110 cornets right behind.
The musical made its Broadway debut in 1957, and like what was mentioned earlier, Walt Disney was a big fan. When they held the grand opening of the 1959 Tomorrowland expansion at Disneyland, one of the special guests Walt invited was Meredith Willson.
Meredith Willson, would you come up here a minute? I want to hear from an expert. You're Mr. Music Man. What do you see coming up the street? What is that? Land. Oh, no. Yeah.
Walt always had surprises up his sleeve, and he actually surprised Meredith Willson with a marching band down Main Street. It included 76 trombones playing the iconic song from the musical.
That's your song, 76 trombones. I've said it all afternoon, but Walt Disney, when he does anything, he does it right, doesn't he? Listen to that.
A really special moment happens when Meredith gets up on the podium to conduct the band. You can just see the joy in his face. Now, this exact moment was essentially repeated, just on a much larger scale, 12 years later at Magic Kingdom. During the grand opening celebration of the resort on October 25th, 1971, a marching band led by Meredith Willson made its way down Main Street while playing the iconic 76 trombones once again. So when you think about it, songs from The Music Man have really been a familiar sound of Main Street as early as 1959, well before its debut in the background music. Number 1. With all this Broadway talk, we need to dive a bit into Disney on Broadway and tie it in with Main Street, USA. Disney began their Broadway endeavors in 1994 with Beauty and the Beast, and to date, they have produced 9 shows on Broadway. A couple of these shows had memorable moments on Main Street that are too ironic to not mention. 2 musicals in Disney's Broadway repertoire include Newsies and Mary Poppins. Both of these musicals take place around the turn of the century. Newsies follows the newsboy strike of 1899 in New York, and Mary Poppins takes place in 1910 London. During the Disney Parks Christmas special on ABC, these are the only 2 Disney on Broadway musicals that have performed in the special, Mary Poppins in 2008 and Newsies in 2013. And where exactly did they perform? Oh, just right down the middle of Main Street, USA, which fits the time period of both of these musicals. I don't think it was an accident that Disney made the decision to have these 2 specific shows perform on
Main Street, USA.
Sure. And they're actually fantastic performances. From the train station to the confectionery store, they explore it all, and both performances end with a big dance break down Main Street. So who would have known there was so much Broadway magic down Main Street, USA? Now, have you ever recognized any of the songs that play on Main Street? What are some of your favorites? I'd love to know. Leave a comment down below to start a conversation, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video.